Hey there, happy artists. Welcome to Kyle Heath Art. This video is a snapshot of what my Patreon subscribers are enjoying right now with their membership. I think you'll find it relaxing, encouraging, and of course packed full with art tips. If you like this video, you'll get so much more on my Patreon. Painting, drawing, and more. Visit the link in my description to learn more about my Patreon. And with that, on to the video. I have this gesso board, which I absolutely love. And then I've got like kind of a red colored pencil that I'm going to use for the drawing. The reason why a color like red or blue is good instead of black is it's easier for it to kind of disappear once you get some paint over it. And let's see, what else do I need to tell you before I start the drawing? Well, so my focus on this drawing is going to be brush strokes. And for me, one of my favorite things about brush strokes is the sense of movement it can convey to the piece. So if movement is important to me, then drawing is probably the most important stage where I can convey real movement. And the way that I'm going to do that is by using gesture. Gesture is a very nebulous and tricky word to explain. If you do any kind of figure drawing, you probably have better context for what a gesture is. So I definitely encourage you to do some figure drawing if you want to get better at drawing. But basically, with gesture, I'm going to try and look at the main lines of this piece. There's obviously billions of different lines when you're looking at something in real life, but the key to drawing something that has movement is looking at certain curves, certain lines of rhythm that go through the whole piece, and really allowing those to take precedence in your drawing will give your drawing a sense of vitality and life. If you don't have gesture lines, your painting or your drawing starts looking stiff. So I'm directing my subject just the way I want it. And now, let's get started with some gesture lines. So I want the big shapes, and I'm starting very, very lightly on my canvas. The reason why I start lightly is number one, it allows me to have a free flowing hand. But then in addition, drawing lightly means you can go over it again. If you start too heavy on your pencil, then those lines kind of just dominate and it gets real messy when you start trying to go in again and clean up some of your lines. It takes a little bit of practice actually to get used to drawing lightly. It took me quite a long time before I really got the hang of it where I didn't have to think. But learning to draw lightly is a really valuable skill in your pocket as a drawer. So you see, I'm doing just these big, big shapes. There's no detail at all. I'm just getting the contours of the thing, the outline of the thing. And you can see a lot of my lines have a bit of curve to them. I think flowers are graceful and beautiful, so this is a good time to maybe use curvy lines. Sometimes I'll use really straight lines in my drawing and painting, and that conveys a different style. Both are great, but the choices you make will dictate a lot of the mood of your piece. Alright, so I'm getting the gist of my drawing just about shored up. From there I can do a second pass and start reinforcing these shapes, start putting in the details that I care about. I haven't really decided how detailed I want to go on this painting. Could be very loose and impressionistic. Not sure yet. Impressionistic is nice for active brush strokes though. So that could be a fun style for this piece. Okay. And I think the brush strokes are really going to shine for the petals. That's where I'm going to have a lot of fun. Oops, looks like I had some wet paint on here. I'm smudging it all over everything. Let's do this. I've got two of these guys because I love them so much. So what I'll do, I'll just slide the dry one right on top. Got it. And let's see if I can wipe off some of this with my solvent. I might get rid of the pencil lines too. I've never done this before. But we'll see. There we go, yeah. I did pick up the pencil lines, but thankfully I didn't have anything too active going on right there. Okay, so I've got more or less the gist of this drawn. There are a couple other things I wanted to pencil in on this first stage before I did my second pass. And the good thing about drawing lightly is you can always just go over it. Or erase it if you want to use graphite or charcoal or something like that. Those are awesome options too. Totally, totally valid. Okay, something like that. Alright, so now let's do our second pass of this drawing. And I'll start with my main star, which is going to be this sunflower right there. And I want to make sure that I preserve the main shapes that I see in the drawing, in the subject. If you want to get better as an artist, I would say drawing is your absolute #1 secret to getting good. Just sitting with a sketchbook and even casually just sketching stuff that you love. That will pay huge dividends for your painting as well. It seems kind of weird that like drawing would help your painting. But anytime you think about art in a slightly different way, it reinforces everything you know about art. So if I'm drawing, I'm naturally gonna just understand the concept of lines better. I'll understand composition better. I'm making a lot of the artistic decisions drawing that I would be making as a painter as well, but I'm doing it in a different way. And for some reason, just doing it a different way seems to really drive the point home in your brain, compared to if you just did nothing but paint non-stop. I think your process of learning is a little bit slower because you're not looking at it from different points of view. That's some of the benefit, too, of using different mediums. Say, doing some stuff in gouache or watercolor. Using different mediums just kind of shakes things up in your brain. It makes you think about art questions from a different vantage point. And all that work really, really pays off. If you feel like you're stuck in your art, you're not advancing, or your stuff all looks the same, then break out a new medium. It's a great, great way to mix things up.